The number listed on the back of Radiohead's Airhead EP was actually Tom York's old pager number. True story. My first myth today asked if it's true that Ed from Radiohead actually took mushrooms when he was at the Grammys one year. Rock stars and drugs, a tale as old as, well, rock music, I guess. From the false story of the Beatles smoking pot at Buckingham Palace to the infamous headband incidents of Jimi Hendrix and Carlos Santana at Woodstock, the world of music is far from short on tales when it comes to rock stars and drugs and things like that. And yes, you can definitely add to that list a claim that Radiohead took mushrooms one year at the Grammys. But add it to the truth list. This totally happened. And Ed O'Brien later told Mojo magazine that after the ceremony was over, he took some psychedelic mushrooms. Apparently they were pretty potent because at the after party, the swimming pools and all the crazy people gave him a really wild experience. So yeah, he absolutely ate some mushrooms, not during a performance or anything, so to me, this one's really not a big deal, but it totally happened. My next myth asked if it's true that Country Joe McDonald from Country Joe and the Fish was actually named after Joseph Stalin. As one of the finest protest performers of his entire generation, his set at Woodstock was definitely one of the highlights. The guy wrote a ton of anti-Vietnam songs, and one of his most famous lines actually is, "The only good commie is one that's dead." So it seems quite odd that his namesake would be someone like Joseph Stalin. But this is actually true. Both of his parents were members of the Communist Party, though they eventually renounced that. And when their son was born, they named him Joseph after Joseph Stalin. Totally true. My last myth asked if it's true that Kurt Cobain actually wrote a song to be used in Ren and Stimpy, but it was never used. Now, claims of famous musicians recording oddball tracks are all over the place. But I have to admit that this one doesn't come up very often, and it's definitely one of the strangest. The timing on it makes sense because the brilliant cartoon, one of my all-time favorites, was getting big just around the time that Nirvana were getting big. But still, this one seems a little bit too strange to be true. This story actually comes from a Nerdist podcast where voice actor Billy West said that before he was well known, Kurt Cobain showed up at the studios where they were doing the Ren and Stimpy cartoon. He gave them a song and the show producers kind of said, yeah, it sounds nice, but have a nice day, we're not going to use it because you know what? They didn't know who Kurt Cobain was, and the song wasn't good. Now, I don't want to call anybody a liar, but I'm going to call this one myth because in my mind, the timing just doesn't work out right. The cartoon in question literally hit the airwaves the same exact month that Smells Like Teen Spirit was sent to radio stations as a single. So it doesn't make much sense that a completely unknown artist would be able to just waltz into a major animation studio. On the flip side of that, had Nirvana already broken big, it makes no sense that the people behind the cartoon wouldn't have wanted to use the song if nothing less than for exposure. Also, this has never been confirmed by the Cobain or Nirvana camps, and this podcast has been out there for more than 4 years. So while it sounds really cool in sentiment, when you reality check it, it sounds like total myth. So those are my myths for this week. If you've got a music story you want me to check out, you can email it to me at thedailyguru@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook right here, and I'll see you guys again next time.